This is the second installment of What in the World Am I Doing in Europe 24 hours at a time. If you haven't seen the first one, you think this is compelling, go check that one out first. I left you guys and I got back to the hostel. This is the day that I traveled into Europe, fell asleep. I was so exhausted by the time I went to bed that I wasn't jet lagged at all. I was ready to go to bed. I could have died, quite frankly. But I woke up at a decent time, maybe about 9 o'clock, rolled out of bed, got ready, went downstairs, and I had looked up how do you eat breakfast in Italy. I love breakfast. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Italians typically eat a light breakfast, typically some sort of baked goods with a cappuccino. I knew the cappuccino part, but look up a bakery nearby. Just go down from the hostel, just down the block, bakery, roll up, like true Italian, stand at the bar. I get my pastry and my cappuccino. I eat relatively quickly, drink my cappuccino, and while I'm standing there, I kind of plan my day. So I knew I had a train from Milan to Turin, and that was at 3:30. So I knew I wanted to go to the Museum of Science and Leonardo da Vinci in Milan. Leonardo da Vinci worked for 20 some years in Milan. That's where he did a lot of his really well-known works, such as The Last Supper, which is in Milan at a different museum that I couldn't get tickets to. But very important to Milan, helped with the city and infrastructure and stuff. Love Leonardo da Vinci, so I knew I wanted to go there. I kind of mapped out my time. Okay, 3:30 train, so I gotta come pick up my bags from the hostel by 2:30, and then I'll jump on the metro. It takes 20 minutes. That gives me about 40 minutes to have a lunch and hang out before my train to Turin. Easy. Get on the metro, head to the stop near the museum, and I get off the stop, and something really funny happened. There was like a group of like 40 like first grade kids that were going to the museum, and they're like walking, a few blocks, and there's teachers, and there's all these like little Italian, first graders or whatever, holding hands and talking in Italian, and I'm going to the same place they are. So I try and get ahead of them, but I end up just getting stuck in the pack of 6-year-olds, and so I just look like a teacher to onlookers, probably look like a creep to the teachers. I was neither. I was just as excited as a school kid to be going to the Leonardo da Vinci Museum. So I roll up to the museum, get my ticket, go in, do the first floor, which is about the industry of Milan, lots of refining ores, bronze and iron. And I go up to the second floor where Leonardo da Vinci is. And as I'm there, I start to get like a little like lightheaded almost, and there's no air conditioning, which didn't help. But then I realized I need more food than that. I end up leaving the museum, going to a bar around the corner. It's what they call kind of like little restaurants, sort of. It's not, they do have alcohol, but mostly it's food and espresso. So I roll up to the bar, get an espresso, 2 bottles of water, which is my signature move now, and get a sandwich, finish up, go back in, go back to the museum, see the coolest like recreations, scale models of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings. Learned a bunch about him. Actually got to see some of his writing, which was super surreal. As someone who carries around little notebooks and scribbles in it constantly, he is sort of one of the inspirations for that for me. So that was cool. Saw the rest of the museum too. Really, really, really cool museum. Almost overwhelmingly cool. They have a whole section of trains, which who doesn't love trains? And they have a boat and airplane section. So I got to check out all these sweet boats and a bunch of airplanes. Honestly, it was a dream. And so I had a great time there, finished up, kind of walked around, had another espresso. My 2 o'clock cutoff hit. And so I knew it'd take about 30 minutes to get back to my bag. So jump back on the metro, head back to the hostel to pick up my bags. Everything's going perfectly smoothly. I have mastered travel. I have mastered Italy. I know I've got it. All that being said, I'm walking with my bags, big bag, little bag, crossbody, walking to the train station, and I realized that I had a week prior changed my train ticket an hour back. So my train was to leave at 2:30 and not 3:30. And I did that so I would have more of a buffer on the back side where I could pick up the rental car, and if anything went wrong, I wouldn't lose my rental car. Because basically, from what I read online, if you're not there to pick up your rental car, you may not get a rental car. So last week, changed my train an hour early, and as I realized that, my train was leaving. Well, I wasn't anywhere near my train. So I stop what I'm doing, I check for train times, Milan Centro to Turin, and I find one train that's leaving and that will get me there on time, and that would give me about 30 minutes to get to the airport where my rental car is. And I'm like, thank you God, I can't believe I made that mistake. Really quick, buy the train ticket, go down into the metro, and I'm cutting it close because I thought I was leaving at 3:30, but my new train is leaving at 3:15. So I gotta hustle. So I'm down the metro, and I get to the metro just as the door is closing to the train, and it takes off. Now, anyone who has used this form of public transport, especially in Milan, knows that a metro train is about every 5 minutes, maybe 6. And so no big deal, wait 5 minutes. However, it's now like 2:47, and it's like a 20-minute metro ride into the train station. And so I am sweating bullets. The next metro comes, jump on. I'm just like white knuckling, holding onto the thing so I don't fall over. And time's passing by. Then the metro stops in my stop, which is the train station, luckily, but it's the very basement. And I'm like reading online, like, how do I get to my train? And so I think I've got it figured out. And so the door opens and I start running. And I mean, I was running before, I was running faster, because this is my last hope. If I do not get this train, I'm not getting a rental car. And I have the rental car for like 18 days, so I need this rental car. It's pivotal. So, no room for negotiation. I'm running up the stairs, looking around. I look like a crazy person. I've got my bags on, and I'm just, and at some point I don't know where I'm going, and I'm like, excuse me, do you speak English? And this girl's like, yes. And I'm like, I'm looking for the train. She's like, so am I. And I'm like, ah. So I just keep running up the stairs, up the escalator. And I come out into like this huge train station hall area. I'm sure it was gorgeous, akin to Grand Central Station, but I didn't look at it. I just started running, and I saw some escalators, and I ran up, and I scanned in my ticket, and it worked, and the doors open, and I checked my phone, and it is 3:13, and I'm on the platform. So on this big platform, and there's like two tracks, and I'm on 28, which means I have 2 minutes to run to track 3, which is 25 tracks for those counting along at home. And meanwhile, it's packed in there. Like, picture a mall on Black Friday. And so I just am like, screw it, I have to make this train. So I run so fast, and I'm just yelling, scusa, kind of like pushing people out of the way, grabbing someone, and I run all the way down, 28, 27, 26, 25, boom, and I get to my train. I see track 3, and there's 2 people standing outside it, and I run in, and I go, Torino? And they say, get in. And so I jump on the train, the back of the train, mind you, and literally, as soon as I get in, they close the doors, and we start moving, which is great. I made it. Now, the problem is that I am soaked in sweat. Like, I am talking sweat is running down my face, dripping off of me. And I'm doing the ultimate walk of shame through a fully loaded train. And these are nice trains, high quality, classy. And I'm just like trudging from car to car, dripping sweat, looking for an open spot, and it's packed. And so I go probably like 6 cars, and finally I look over, and this man looks at me in my eyes, and he goes, you can sit here. And I said, thank you so much. Put my bag Sit down next to this guy. He seems unbothered. Look over here. There's like this very nice young lady. She kind of like pulls herself away from me, which makes perfect sense. Like I am still, you know, like after you run and you get done running and you're still just like pouring sweat, that's what's going on, to the point where I went in my bag, opened it up and grabbed my towel, and I'm wiping my face off on the train, like no shame at this point. And so I can't believe I made it. I still can't catch my breath, but I'm on the train. And so the train runs like a clock, hitting every stop, boom, boom, boom. Know where I'm supposed to get off. It's going to be a little tight. I'll have about 15 minutes to get onto the Turin Metro, and that Turin Metro will take me to Turin Airport. Easy. I've mastered metros at this point. So we get to my stop, get my bags up, go out. Totally different. I have no idea what's going on. So basically, I don't know, based on the instructions on my phone, if I'm looking to get an actual like train to the airport or a metro train to the airport. And they're very different. And that's very important, as I've learned. Like an actual train, you'd have to buy a ticket. For the metro, you just buy a pass for like 90 minutes, no big deal. And so I have no idea what's going on. And what do? I literally have like, 10 minutes now, or 12 minutes. And I find this tall Italian looking man and I go, "Excuse me, sir, do you speak English?" He said, "Yes." And I was like, "Can you help me?" And he's like, "I don't know what's going on, but I know how to figure it out." And so I go, "Great." So I'm following this Italian guy. We're like kind of making small talk. He takes me to this room with like ticket people, and we ask the question. He's talking in Italian. It's like being along with your dad. I'm just kind of sitting there like, and the adults are speaking, the kids are listening, and they don't get anywhere. And he's like, "Well, it's not this place." And I'm like, "Great, because I have 6 minutes." And so we go to another place, and he's like, "Go in there, ask that person, you'll be fine." So I go in there, and there's a line of like 6 people, and I'm like, you know what, this is not going to work. And so I go back onto the platform, and I check, and there's one more train that is going to the airport that will get me there on time so that I can pick up my rental car, so that I get a rental car for this trip. Very important, I reiterate. And it leaves in like 7 minutes. I'm like, okay, I have 7 more minutes, I guess. And by about 5 minutes later, I kind of gave up, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And so there's like not Lyft, like I'm sure there's something akin to Lyft, but my app didn't work. And so I see a sign and it says taxi. Perfect. I'm willing to pay anything to get to the Turin Airport. And I'm cutting it close because I check on my phone. It's a 22-minute drive to the Turin Airport where the rental car company is. The rental car company closes at 6 and it's now 5:15. So we're talking less than a half an hour on either side if I drive there. So I'm like, I gotta go. So I go to the taxi, and as I come out, there's a couple getting in the taxi. And that driver goes, "You need a taxi?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Stay here. I'll send someone for you." And I'm like, "Thank you, God. Please, please." So I wait, and I wait, and I wait for 10 minutes. And so now it's like 5:30. And again, 20-minute drive. So that's 5:50. This place is going to close. And I'm like, I can't wait any longer. So then I go down to the other end, and I run into these security guys, and I go, "Taxi?" And they go, "Up, up, up." And I go, "Ah." So I'm running again, get upstairs, and there's a taxi cab waiting there. And this guy is leaning against the cab. He's got a cigarette out. He's literally about to light it. And I go, "Taxi." And he goes, "Yes, get in." And so I get in, I pull up the email, show it to the guy. He doesn't speak a lick of English, and he takes me to the rental car company. We get there literally at 5:58, and I run up to the first person I see, and I go, show them my email, and they're like, this way, go in. So I go, and I meet this really lovely lady. Super nice, honestly, whatever rental company it was. Very kind people. But we start going through the thing, and she's like, "Okay, I have a Fiat 500X, manual." And I said, "Manual?" And she said, "Yes, manual." This is where I come clean. I don't know how to drive a manual, I'm sure as heck not learning in Italy, especially not the hill country of Italy. And I go, no, I paid extra. I paid like 200 euro more to have an automatic car. And she's like, I'm so sorry, we don't have that down. We don't have any automatic cars. And I literally like put my hands on the desk and I go, listen, I'm gonna crash this car. I cannot drive manual. And she's like, let me see what we can do. And so she goes on her computer and she goes, we did just get a car back. They're washing it right now. If you can wait 20 minutes, you can have that car. I'm like, great. So I wait and I do the paperwork and hang out. And then they give me this car. And what I had asked for was a Fiat, very small, very narrow cars, famously from Italy. And what they gave me was a car brand I've never heard of, and it's like a soccer mom car. Like, I'm talking not full size, like it's not like an Escalade, but it's not a small car. And where I'm going, I know there are tiny, tiny roads. And I go, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I did have to pay like 300 more euro for the car, whatever. Like, I just needed a car, right? I was desperate. I had fought hours to get to this car. And so I get the car, put it in my phone, my maps, I start driving. And then I kind of like start realizing like, I don't know anything about driving in Italy other than that you drive on the right hand side of the road. This one. But I didn't even know, like, this sounds ridiculous, but I had no idea what the speed limit signs even were. I figured that one out. It's a red circle with a number in it. Pretty cool. And of course it's kilometers per hour, so like I don't even really know how fast that is anyways. Just make sure the number on your dash matches the number on the sign. But I don't know, like, I can't read the street signs. I have no idea what's going on. And it's about an hour and 20-minute drive from Turin to Alba. So I'm just driving along. I hit a toll booth at some point, and like what I've learned thus far in Italy is like you just have to assert yourself and be confident. And so I just drove up to that toll booth like I knew what was going on, expecting to talk to an Italian person, but it was just a machine with a ticket, and I took the ticket and I was like, oh, great. Kept driving. Eventually we got to more machines where I put the ticket in and paid them. But as I'm driving, it's really beautiful. Like, it starts to go from agricultural in the sense of wheat and corn, and then you see the first vines of Vitis vinifera, what we know as the wine grape. It was surreal. And now I don't know what the signs are saying, but I'm starting to recognize Asti, Longa, Alba, which is where I'm meant to be. Now I'm way behind. I haven't eaten since I had that little sandwich before the Leonardo da Vinci adventure. I have been running, I've been sweating, I've almost been bleeding, I've almost been crying. It's been a whole thing. And so, joking on the crying, of course, I have to throw that in there. Anyways, so I was supposed to get in at like 6:30, and I roll into this place at 8:30 maybe. Just total mess. Meet the like night watch guy because he like the normal person went home, but he was super nice, super interested, gave me the keys, told me where to go. So I get back in my car, drive up, and I'm staying in Wine Barrel. So that's what the backdrop is. That's why it's circular here. This sort of resort, they would maybe call it, but it's really like a campground. Has a few different accommodations, and one of them is to stay in a Barolo wine barrel. And so that's what I chose, because I'm here for Barolo, Barbaresco, and it's pretty crazy, like thousands of liter wine barrel that they use. Like, it's like stained, right? Kind of reddish. And some of this is probably the finish, but they don't make these just to live in. And they converted it into a tiny little living, I mean, it's not tiny, but living quarters. Anyways, roll in. Like, I'm so excited to be there. And honestly, I did, in all reality, get a little bit emotional when I was driving, and I could see, you know, these little castles on the side of a mountain. And I just had this moment of like, wow, like this is a place that I have learned about for years. I've drank this wine for years. I've seen pictures, I've studied, I've taken 2 tests over this stuff. And I am here, driving through it, not knowing what's going on. never being anywhere even close to here before. And so it was like a little bit of an emotional experience that I will cherish forever. But anyways, so I get up to my barrel, boom, key in, drop my stuff. I'm like a zombie, right? And so I know, okay, I need food. Like I haven't eaten since 10:30 in the morning. It's now 8:30 at night, and I've been running around like crazy. And so, but I'm like, I can't go out like this. Like I smell myself. And so I'm not going to subject anyone else to that. So I enjoy the air conditioning for a minute, and then I jump in the shower here. The shower's kind of connected, a little room off the barrel. I'll do a tour later, MTV Crib style. And get done, get dressed, and I head down to the little, jump in my car, drive down to the end of the driveway where the restaurant on site is, and it's closed. And I go, no problem. Italy, notoriously, people eat late, they stay up late, no problem at all. So I go on my phone to look for restaurants that are open, and everything's closed. Close in Alba. Close. Alba is the city that I'm just outside of. Anyways, so all the restaurants are closed except for like one on Google. So I'm like, well, I guess I know where I'm going. And I just kind of assumed that going into Alba, driving in Alba would be relatively straightforward, straight roads, park wherever. Not at all. So not only did driving in the city introduce smaller roads than even before, also introduced a handful of signs I've never seen in my entire life, and I have no idea what they are. Yes, that's on me. I should have read up on it, but I digress. Here we are. I'm like delirious driving through this tiny town. And also, there's a roundabout on every single corner in Alba. I'm not joking you. Roundabout. You go through the roundabout to another roundabout. You drive like 1 kilometer, roundabout. Keep going. It's insane. The only good thing about that is that if you miss your turn, you can just shoot around the roundabout a couple times and go back the way that you came, which I've done many times since I got here. Anyways, so I'm driving. I have no idea where I'm going. It's dark. These like tiny little roads. I'm just trying not to hit something or someone. And eventually my Google Maps I'm driving like through this like sort of like medieval town with like these stone buildings. It's beautiful, but I can barely see at this point. So I'm just like kind of white knuckling, and Google tells me to park here. So I pull up to this parking lot, and it's this tiny little spot, and there's like 6 cars packed in there. There's this tiny spot, and I'm like, confidence is key, no problem. So I kind of like go for it, and I miss it entirely. So I go back, forward, and at this point I'm like not gonna make it. So I'm like, you know what, I'm bailing. So I kind of back out a little bit. I drive up, and I'm gonna back in. And I had done so many, like even trying to back in, I mean, I must have made like a 31 point turn. So much so that these 3 kind of like 30-year-old Italian guys were sitting, smoking and drinking a bottle of wine. And they came and were like guiding me. And so they got me in there. I jumped out of the car. I said, I'm not drunk, I'm just American. And they didn't laugh because they didn't speak any English. And I thought, wow, I really am alone in this world. Anyways, I thanked them, grazie. And so I back on my phone, and I'm following the footpath to this literally medieval town I've never been in before. Beautiful, but stressful. And I'm like, okay, take a right. Okay, 100 meters on your left. So I'm like, do. And I see the name of the restaurant, La Libera. Great. And I walk past the sign, and what do I see by the door? Big, bright red Michelin star. Now, I like Michelin restaurants. The restaurants I've dined in, I've really enjoyed. And in fact, that's something that maybe I would like to do here. However, it's not what I had in plan for 10:30 on the day that I got to my destination here in Italy. On my way up to the door, I had this 30-second conversation with myself. And what I decided is that if I had to pay $90, 90 euro, whatever, for a tiny meal that didn't fill me up, I'm paying it. Nothing else is open. I have no choice. I'm going to literally perish. And so I just confidently open the door, walk in, and like, when you picture Michelin restaurants, you picture like a normal restaurant, which is true for some, vestibule, host, but sometimes people just will like convert houses into restaurants, and Michelin loves that, and they'll get a star. Well, that's what this place was. So I open the door very confidently, and I walk into like off to the left is like a dining room, like in a home, and there's like 6 very well-to-do looking people there, and there's a lady who kind of rushes at me the way you might if like a homeless man, comes in the door, and which is fair. I mean, I wasn't certainly not in my best light, and I said, "I need food. Are you serving?" And she said, "No English, no English." And I'm like, "Oh no." And so she goes back to the back, gets another lady who does speak English. And I'm like, "Are you serving food?" And she's like, "No." And then I'm like, "Okay, do you know anywhere that is?" And she said, whatever she said. And I said, "Perfect." Put it right in my phone. "Thank you so much. Have a good night." Boom. Leave. Leave these people to their dinner. And so I start, push go on my phone. Well, the address that it came up with was in Turin, which is where I just had come from. So it's like an hour and 40-minute drive. And I'm like, I'm confused. She's confused. Maybe this is just a funny way for her to get me an hour and 40 minutes away from a restaurant. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm like, this isn't going to work. So I just start walking these dark streets, buildings go, everything's 2 stories, like palazzos, and beautiful, like really beautiful, but also like a little bit sad when you have no idea what you're doing and it's pitch dark. And so I'm kind of walking and I see a light, and so I go to the light, and there's this bar called Hemingway's, and I'm like, well, this looks like a bar, like it's just people eating, and I mean like an American bar, not like an Italian bar, in the sense that it looked like just drinks. And so I walk by, there's people watching the World Cup, and then I like walk past, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go ask. So I go to the bartender, and I'm like, Inglese, Inglese, and he's like, huh, K. And I'm like, Inglese, do you speak English? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, man, got it. My bad. And I'm like, I need food. And he's like, we have food. And I'm like, great. Where can I sit? And he's like, where do you want to sit? And I'm like, I don't know. So I just find a table, and I still like kind of didn't believe him that they had food because no one else is eating, but I'm like, I just got to trust. And so I sit down, guy comes, takes my order, and I ordered a caprese, big caprese salad for 2, and then thinly pounded veal cutlet. It was like literally, like 2 bicycle seats in size. I had no idea when I ordered it, but I needed it. And then he was like, any wine? And I'm like, you know what? First night in Italy, should I have a glass of wine? No, but I'm gonna. And so I had a glass of, I think it was Franciacorta, or maybe it was a sparkling white wine from the Piedmont region. I can't remember exactly. Anyways, so something refreshing, light. And so I had my first course, crushed it. Had my second course, crushed it. Had my glass of wine, crushed it. And then I was like restored, and like kind of reflected on the long day that I've had as I walked back to my car. And I jumped in and I said a few prayers. Please don't let me crash this car. Please don't let me hurt anyone. Please don't let me hurt myself, whatever. And jumped back in the car, did a bunch of, full loops on the roundabout while I figured out what my GPS was doing. And eventually I made it back to my Barolo barrel. And I fell asleep. And that was my successful day. Well, all's well that ends well, I guess, is the moral of the story. Travel's hard. Leave yourself room. And traveling is an interesting combination of confidence and assertiveness, but not being too confident or too assertive so that you make mistakes. So I feel like every day I'm here, I'm learning a lesson. Every day I'm here, I'm definitely learning a little bit more Italian. I actually have in my notebook a running list of Italian words I needed to know. And so I've just been writing those down in the translations. So excellent. That is my technically day 2 in Italy recap. How I got from Milano, Torino, Alba, and I didn't die and I didn't crash my car. And so I've got another recap coming for you for day 3 abroad, my first full day in Alba. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.